about again if something I'm not aware now or I don't notice now.
That's why the realities are so very subtle. Each one, no matter it's rupa or nama, is so very subtle. For example, is there right understanding?
Now? No. For me, no.
Just is there right understanding? Manasikara.
Okay.
Is there right understanding?
Well, if there is...
I didn't say now at all.
Okay,
I just, is there understanding, or is there any reality which is understanding?
Yes.
What does it understand?
It's understand the true nature of the reality,
For example,
which is like the taste or the temperature that's uncontrollable.
understanding.
Yes.
How it understand the taste.
The taste is just taste. It does not belong to chicken or fish.
So right understanding understands what?
Understand the nature, what is the reality.
Taste is there. Taste is
there.
real.
Right.
It's nothing as food or anything at all. It is only taste.
Right. At that moment, if Satipatthana, it's just the world, it's just the taste.
The taste is a reality.
Yes.
And understand it as a reality.
Yes.
So does understanding experience the object?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
If it's not, there cannot be understanding at all.
Right.
So whenever there is understanding at that moment, it experiences that object with understanding.
Right.
Or understanding is there, understands what is there as the object.
Mm-hmm.
So how many kinds of reality which experiences the object?
We can say two kinds, Citta and Cittasika.
Or
the 4 different khandhas that experience the same
can
object.
we say 53?
53, yes. Yes.
The same, because they all experience the object.
Right.
In different manners.
Yes.
Okay. No doubt about Cetasika also experiences the object too.
Right.
The same object as Citta experiences.
Yes.
Right in. Okay.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
No doubt.
No doubt at certain level, right?
You see. No doubt that there must be the reality which experiences the object.
Right.
Together at the same time.
Right.
That's why no one at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what is the now? It's not Vincent.
Ultimately, yes. No.
Where's Vincent yesterday?
Never to return. But Ajahn, but Ajahn, never to return is true. But even for people who never learned the Dhamma, they know it's never to return. People know yesterday were never to return without learning Dhamma.
No understanding of what is there at all.
Right.
Only thinking about this and that.
Yes. You could say they know impermanence too, but they don't know impermanence as a characteristic of
Dhamma,
a conditioned reality.
Right.
And that's the important thing.
Yep.
Not that everyone knows that yesterday is gone and this life is finite and so on and so forth.
Right.
But none of that leads towards the path the Buddha taught.
Right. It has to be the understanding of Dhamma.
Yes.
Has to be.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
What is not Dhamma?
That which is conceptualized or imagined because of Dhamma.
At that moment, is it Dhamma?
There are Dhammas, otherwise,
So,
right?
what is there which is not Dhamma?
What is there which is not Dhamma? Normal, it's the object. Normally, it's the object of the viticita of the mind door.
But that is Dhamma.
Like the desk.
So, what is not Dhamma?
What is not Dhamma? Well, there are limited number of Dhammas, right? And then, concepts not Dhamma. That's what I meant. Based on Dhamma, they are imagined or conceptualized object, aramana.
Is there Dhamma? It is there Dhamma when you just talk about it.
The concept is not Dhamma, but there need to be
But
Dhamma.
at moment of the concept is Dhamma.
There are Dhammas, otherwise, right?
So what is not Dhamma?
What is not Dhamma? If it's not Dhamma, right? If it's not, oh, okay, that's what, object of thinking, right? Or the concept. That's not.
Is there Dhamma?
At that moment, yes, there are Dhammas,
So
right?
what is not Dhamma?
That which is not real.
When it's there, is it real?
Well, the concept is not real, but the Dhamma, that experience, it is real,
We don't talk about Dhamma, concept or anything.
right?
What is there anything not Dhamma?
No, everything is because
So-
of Dhamma, right?
Can there be, it's not Dhamma or not Dhamma at all?
It has to be Dhamma every moment, right?
When it's not there at all, nothing is there. No Dhamma.
There could be still Rupa, right?
No thing or nothing at all at that moment.
Mhm.
Not at all. Can it be Dhamma?
No. Mhm.
That which is not there, real or never arises at all.
So the rupa, the hardness, for example, gone instantly. So at the moment the hardness arises, whether or not it's experienced, it's Dhamma. When it's gone, it's not Dhamma, and it can never return again, never be Dhamma again, that hardness.
Sorry, Ajahn, I haven't quite understood what you're saying.
What is not there at all? What is not there at all? How can it be anything? Even Dhamma? Nothing is there at all.
Nothing is there.
Now or anytime. That which is not there now, can it be a Dhamma?
What is not here now cannot be a Dhamma, right?
What is gone, it's
Yeah.
not a Dhamma. The hardness, and it's gone, it's
That's all right.
not
Yeah, I
Dhamma,
understand.
and not a Dhamma again.
After the death of Arahata, is there any Dhamma?
Not
No
not
Dhamma.
what was not any Dhamma that's taken for
No
Arahata,
Dhamma
no.
at all. So anything which hasn't arisen, or it's not there at all, no matter any time, it cannot be a Dhamma because it's not there. Nothing is there. This is just condition a little more carefully considering.
Yes, but we, sorry. Go ahead. When we usually talk about nothing is there. It's just live in the world of nimitta. So in a sense, that reality is gone already. Only nimitta is left. So in that sense, it's sunyata, or nothing there. No atta in the Dhamma, nothing really there. Gone immediately.
So is there sunyata?
Is there sunyata? That's a truth proclaimed by the Buddha.
What is sunyata?
Empty of self, nothing is there, no atta.
So at moment when it's gone, never to return, is sunyata, never to arise again. Anatta, when it's there, arising and falling away, no return. At moment, as soon as it's fall away, it's sunyata.
Right. Even if it's the same one, it's still sunyata because it's fall away immediately.
Someone or a Dhamma.
It'd be the same one because it's
That the point is, it's same one or not the same one. It actually doesn't really matter because it's sunyata. Because
but how can it be the same one? Because that particular Dharma has fallen away completely.
on a thinking level, it's
never
not the
to
same
return.
one. But now it looks like the same, even though it's not the same one. It seems the same one.
Right. It
It's
seems
close
that,
enough.
It seems the
Similar.
hardness lasts. It seems
Right.
what is seen, the color lasts. But that's because of not understanding the truth.
Right. But the understanding the truth is the gone immediately, right? But what we are repeating now, so. We are repeating, but it's not the same one. So
It seems the same one, but we understand at a certain theoretical level that it's not.
right, but that's that level. That's the point when we talk about everyone know it's not coming back, even though without learning Dhamma, because yeah, it's help on the thinking level, but it doesn't really change much because people still sorrow, still clean.
Well, it doesn't matter whether the thinking helps or not. But we're just talking about the way things are as described by the Buddha. Whether one thinks about it at the moment is another matter. One doesn't have to think about it.
Right.
Vincent, if I may, say something. I've not been following 100% the discussions. Just hold on.
Sorry, Sukin, we've lost your audio.
Yes. Now, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Right. Vincent, I think if I, understand your intention, I think what you are trying to emphasize is that sometimes it's not necessary to emphasize on the fact that a Dhamma is completely gone, never to return, because it doesn't add to the understanding of the present moment. It does not influence, or it does not help. So why not just pay attention to what appears? And if we're talking about conditioned, that's what it needs to be understood, not the fact that it's fallen away, never to return. It's conditioned, and that's what needs to be understood. Is that your point?
Almost, but I think it still help, even though it doesn't really, to myself, it doesn't really help much. It helps in the thinking level.
Yes, and I think at some point, Sarah mentioned to you something about that if we do not consider about dhammas having fallen away and never to return, then there's always a danger of taking it for something lasting, and that means what she's saying is that you need to hear about it as well. It's not just you can just dismiss it and hope and think that you don't need to hear it. Is that also what was being discussed?
Well, not exactly no need to hear about it. It's nice to know the truth and reminded that it's never come back. It's not going to be the exact same, but still coming back to the real dispassion, the condition to dispassion, the conduct is really whatever the Dharma is at any time, any place, even if it's the same one, but it still fall away. That's dukkha. Even if it's the same one, but so if it's not the same one, we know it's not the same one. But I'm saying even if it's the same one, it still fall away. And the falling away immediately is the real critical, essential part why the dispassion can occur.
Right, but also you were saying at the same time that the idea that yesterday is completely gone, never to come back, is a common knowledge. Even someone who hasn't heard the Dhamma knows that, right? And that does not seem to help in any way. So that actually points.
Still help in some way. It's still, yeah.
So does it help a person who has not heard the Dhamma?
It still help on a thinking level, to letting go sometimes a little bit, but not much. Or you cherish the people, the family member, we are not, yeah, that kind of thinking.
But but do you
Consequent-
not see that when a person who has not heard the Dhamma refers to the yesterday being completely gone, he is completely oblivious about the Dhamma, and what he's talking about is just an idea. And what we know is that yesterday gone because Dhammas of yesterday have arisen and gone away.
Like now, yes.
Yes. So to say that a Dhamma now arises and completely gone can be with the understanding that Dhamma now, about Dhamma now, isn't it?
About what of the Dhamma?
Yes, about the Dhamma now. So this Dhamma that is being the object of understanding, the object of Chitta, is actually completely gone,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So hearing this, that the Dhamma completely gone and never to return is helpful, no? It needs to be understood because as you seem to be saying, is that even a person who knows that yesterday is completely gone, is not never going to come back, and doesn't know about Dhamma is helpful. But is it? I don't think so.
Well, yes, I think we agree that conventional knowledge isn't really a help in coming to understand Dhammas. But there's just one point I'd like to ask Vincent, because he keeps coming back to this point that even if it doesn't fall away completely, it is still known that it rises and falls, or something to that effect. So what point are you trying to...
He's saying even if it does fall away, it may be almost the same that arises again.
Yeah, so what point are you trying to make by drawing that to our attention?
I'm saying the real critical and sufficient point is falling away. That's enough to condition dispassion, even if it's the same one.
Are you talking about intellectual knowledge or a direct understanding, or what?
Well, to be precise, not with direct understanding, right? But also intellectually, that's sufficient. That's already sufficient and complete knowledge.
Why are you making this point that without knowing that it's gone completely, never to return, that is already sufficient? I don't quite see what you're trying to convey by mentioning that time and again.
Well, at the beginning, I was not really clear. I just raised the topic to discuss about what's the point.
If I may, Vincent, I think the impression I got was that your point was that the understanding that it's arisen and fallen away is the object of right understanding in the moment, and that should be enough. Why need to talk about never to return? And then somehow in the discussion, you were forced to refer to other people, and that, and maybe there was confusion. But what you're saying is that when Panya arises and knows that the present, like seeing, has already fallen away, uh, that's the point of understanding, and you don't need to talk about add further that this Dhamma is never to return. Is that your point?
Almost, but to be precise, at the moment when it appeared to the Panya and the Dhamma, like seeing is seeing, that's enough. It doesn't matter it's Kusala Vipaka or Akusala Vipaka or which Karma condition that seeing. Or it's the same seeing or not the same seeing. That's the point I want to raise.
Right, but isn't it this other aspect, as Sarah was talking yesterday, that we need to hear different aspects actually supports and helps the understanding, because what you're saying now is the same seeing. I understand you're talking about seeing is still seeing. It's a different seeing, but seeing is still seeing. So why and not emphasize on this again and again, since there's a new seeing? So understand that seeing, and instead of talking about what's fallen away and saying that it's fallen away never to come back, there is still the seeing to be understood, and Pandya just needs to know the characteristic, and in that knowing, uh, all that needs to be understood is there. You don't need to talk about anything else.
Not no need to talk about anything else. I'm thinking that's also true. It's not coming back, but just the focus, the real essential one, the critical one, a complete one, is falling away. Not just the characteristic of seeing, but also the core lakkhana of all the conditioned Dhamma.
Well, it's just part of the lakkhana of anicca.
That's another way to put it. That's
Intrinsic
already
part
implied.
of the lakkhana of anicca, but only understood at a high level, I'm sure.
Right.
So
That is part of its It's part of its nature that it falls away and is gone completely, can never return. That's why it's dukkha, because it's gone. So it cannot arise again.
Exactly, because it's gone, it's dukkha.
but no
That's
one
enough.
is no one
It's
is
gone
saying
and cannot arise again.
no one is saying there
Completely
needs to
gone.
be this kind of thinking at any particular time.
No. Yeah. Right.
It's just about what is the Buddha's teaching on the point, and can it be understood, directly known.
Right. But back to what Sarah was just saying, for the Dhamma to be dukkha, sankhara dukkha, it's falling away, right?
Fallen away, gone forever, completely gone.
But even
So there's
without,
clinging all day, every day to what is completely gone and can never arise again. Completely gone. That is what the impermanence is.
Vincent, what do you think of this in the text that they talk about different people, different accumulations, taking either the sign of anicca, dukkham, or anatta at the point of enlightenment? What do you think about that?
that just means, as you said, just means different accumulation.
Mhm.
Or it could be one of them, one of the three to be realized.
So while are you saying that a person who at that point has the dukkha nature of a nature of the reality as object of panya, at that moment, the anicca and the anatta aspect is also known?
No, only at that moment, only
One.
one. Yeah.
Right. So even now, as we are talking about dhammas that they are conditioned to and fallen away, it would be such understanding would only develop while knowing other aspects of that reality and having some understanding accumulated too, right?
Right.
Right. So this falling away of reality is never to come back. Is that knowledge not important? Is that understanding not important?
Yes, it has to be that understanding to
So,
continue the
so you
discussion.
still insist on the idea that it's not necessary to add further that a dhamma that has arisen and fallen away, that it never returns.
Okay. It's fall away. It's fall away immediately. But even if it's return, it still fall away and still have the characteristic of dukkha.
Okay, excuse me, there are a few people here trying to speak. Could you all use microphones? Sukin, hold it because a lot of people here trying to speak.
Hi everyone. Yeah, I would like to join. I think this part you're saying kept coming back. You kept saying even if it's returned, there's no if.
That's to explain falling away is enough. It doesn't matter if it's the same Dhamma or not, exact same Dhamma or not.
Enough.
Because falling away is the reason why it's dukkha.
You need to understand that the Dhamma has fallen away straight away is enough to condition more understanding
I mean,
for the next moment.
when it's realized, the conditioned Dhamma fall away immediately, that's enough.
But what is the benefit of thinking about if that's happened again, that is to benefit for the next moment, for more understanding? It doesn't, is
no,
it?
I don't encourage to think about even if it's returned.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I think the key here is about when you say even it's appear or it's arise again, whatever, but it is not the case at all. Right?
That's
I
not
know
the
that
case,
you quite,
no.
yeah,
No, it's-
okay,
the
sorry,
truth
that's
is
what I,
the truth is does not come back. Just like seeing is anatta, right? But still,
Yes.
the Buddha said, if it's atta, then I can want the seeing to be this, to be that, but I can't. So it's not atta. So there is a reverse reasoning.
no.
It's turn.
Okay.
And then Mai's turn.
So, no, but I just meant to say that if the reality arises and falls away, gone, never to return, then what's the point to talk about another similar one that arises, because it's not the same one anymore? If it's clear, then why to mention the another similar one?
The mention of even if it's returned is try to explain falling away is enough. Because it doesn't matter if it's the same or not.
For what?
Enough for dispassion, conditional dispassion.
Not enough to understand the characteristic of an each other properly.
Then Ajah's turn after Mai.
And I just want to, because I don't really get your meaning or the point to try to clarify. So you want to discuss about or to make clear about the true meaning of letting go or the true meaning of dukkha? Sorry, I don't get.
I want to say the real why the dispassion can happen. Why the dispassion can occur toward the khandhas.
Dispassion, you mean what exactly?
Dispassion toward the khandhas.
What cetasika are you talking about?
Vanya, right?
Panya.
Right. Conditional dispassion, letting go.
you're talking about understanding of an individual reality? Or you're talking about an intellectual understanding of what conditions panya?
Okay, be specific. I'm talking about, say, the stage 5 of Vipassana Jnana, the stage of Banga, when it's falling away. Right. Of course, not my experience, right?
No, so why are we talking about stage 5 Vipassana Jnana?
Because we are discussing dispassion, right? That's when you start to know the danger.
Well, that's Mai's question. You're bringing up the subject of dispassion.
Okay. Because never come back is true, but it seems implied. If it's come back, I know it's not going to happen. But just like when Buddha said, if Rupa is Atta.
No, just go on. It seems to imply what?
Why
I want to
if
hear that.
Ajahn.
Why if? Okay. Then back to the point. The point is falling away. Like now, we don't know it's falling away, the visible object, and it looks the same, even though we know theoretically it's not exactly the same, but it still look the same like yesterday, right? So that's same enough. Still, the dispassion can happen. It doesn't matter.
What do you mean by whether it's same or not?
Because it's going to be dukkha anyway, because it's far away.
One by one.
If there's the understanding that it's gone, then there's no idea that this new visible object is similar or the same then, because it's totally a new one.
But the same reason. It doesn't have to think about it, does not come back.
And what do you think it implies when it said that it falls away and is gone, never to return? You started to say something there.
I think I want to make the point, it's fall away is enough. I'm not saying you add the second one is hurting.
But it doesn't make sense to say it's fallen away is enough, because we are trying to understand the Buddha's teaching. We're not here to have our own version of what the Buddha said,
right?
And what the meaning of the Buddha said.
Okay, let's take Satipatthana Sutta, for example.
Yes.
The Dhamma arise and fall away.
Excuse me?
Yes.
If there's not enough understanding of sati at level of Satipatthana, can there be any understanding of the text? What it's about right now or what moment? That's why we have to know that we know or understand just very little of what is there. That's why they should be very careful considering to agree, or it cannot be different from what Buddha said, right? Because he is the enlightened one. But our understanding compared to his great wisdom at all. That's why each word should be carefully considering until it's have the very, very firm confidence of the truth of only that moment. For example, what is the Dhamma or the meaning of Dhamma? Is there Dhamma? And what are they? Little by little, to understand each word, that it has to conform with the other words in the book, in the text, each text, right? That's why we just have one's own idea while hearing or thinking about the term that Buddha used. But in truth, never enough understanding to understand. Yesterday, like we talked about the Ahara Pacaya by way of general Ahara Pacaya and by way of Paticcasamuppada. See, if we don't carefully consider, how can there be the understanding of Ahara Pacaya by different manners? For example, in general or by way of Paticcasamuppada. Can anyone think about it? But why do we listen again and again to each word of the teaching because it's deeper and deeper, more subtle to understand even Dhamma. See, that's why we come back again to understand that what we study, what we consider is to understanding of the truth of what is there. What is there is Dhamma for sure, but they are different. That's why we have to consider again. For example, Chitta and Cetasika. Each word, they arise together. They experience the same object, right? It does mean that Cetasika does not experience the object at all. For example, understanding what? Without experience that object, how can there be right understanding of that object as it is? Not at all, right? This is the way to understand the different realities which arise together and experience the same object, but not by the other's function. It has to be its own function only. For example, Chitta cannot understand, right? It cannot passa at all, but it experiences the object clearly. No matter in what moment from birth, even the object is not known, but it is the reality which, no matter what object appear or not, it experiences clearly. While there are other cetasika arising, experience the same object, which is ignorance. Does ignorant understand the object, or it just not understand nothing? It has to understand that which appear, but when there's no understanding, it's ignorance. And another reality arises, understand the truth of it, little by little, that it's there. Not more than that. In the beginning, just it's real and it's there. And then later, no one there at all. Only that characteristic which cannot be changed at all. Begin to understand little by little, and whatever is there by condition only arises and falls away, never to return at all. No matter what life, it is there, even right now. Seeing is conditioned to just arise to see and then gone instantly, never to be this same seeing at all. That's why life goes on when there are conditions for whatever arises until no conditions anymore. Is that true? Just consider carefully, not I or anyone. It is ignorance or understanding and doubt and attachment and wrong understanding. That's why we learn to consider carefully, to conform with the teachings about that reality by way of ayatana or dhatu or Ariya Satya or the path leading to the understanding the truth. That's why we just understand very little, so very little now at moment of hearing, considering, beginning to have confidence of the intellectual understanding of that which is now appearing. For example, we talk about seeing because seeing is there. No one say that they don't know seeing, but seeing is there. How can it not be known? But no understanding of the truth of it. This is different. So that which is there, attend to the characteristic of that object, cannot understand, but it just attend. Its function is attend wisely or unwisely, condition right understanding to arise and gone instantly. So all sankhara dhammas, conditioned realities, arise and fall away, never to return. And this understanding is the way or the path to understand more and more. And at any moment, at any level of understanding, it let go. Wrong understanding gradually. Now, it's not the moment which realize the truth of what is there now arising and falling away. So we understand what is meant by vipassana, right? Without hearing, considering a little about the truth of what is there now, can there be that state? That's why 3 rounds of the Four Noble Truth, Ariya Satya, has to be developed firmer and firmer to be parami, support the understanding, to develop carefully to understand it. No matter when and where, there's no I, there's no one, there is only different realities that can be known when it appears now. So it's not just thinking about sunyata or anatta in one's own way, but that which is there has a reason by conditions to form its function and then gone instantly, never to return. Anatta and sunyata. Nobody can stop the way it is.
And I think it's a distraction or a tangle to start thinking about Bhanganyana in this context or Sankarupekanyana in the other context, because it's like speculating about a level of understanding that isn't there now, that cannot be understood, instead of just understanding what appears now. Otherwise, one's just speculating about what it would be like to have this vipassana jnana level of understanding, not understanding what is true, what appears now.
And I think what Ajahn was saying that is that this entanglement is happening even not just when we're talking about the vipassana yanas or things like that, but even now when we're just with our own thinking, own not being careful enough to understand what the Buddha meant, but we come to our own conclusions about the path, about the nature of reality, such as saying that all we need to do is hear about this and not hear about that. That's a distraction. Actually, we need to hear about all aspects of realities and not just try to, as we generally do, just generalize and oversimplify, because the ignorance is now, and again, ignorance is rising, and ignorance is ignorant of the present reality. So we need to hear and just know that the path is about understanding what appears.
Well, yes, but hearing too much can also be a distraction. No fault of the Dhamma, of course, but there has to be, one has to know at what level one is capable of following what's being said, and it's useful. Otherwise, one can get totally lost in the realm of thinking. But here I agree, Sukhin, that the question is, are we modifying the Buddha's teaching to have our own version of what is appropriate, what is necessary, what is enough, or what it means at this level or that level? And I think there's a danger in that, and to hypothesize, even if it returns, it's a totally unnecessary hypothesis to make. So there's a reason why one would make that hypothesis, because it's not necessary to persuade anyone here about the value of understanding the anicca characteristic. So I think I put it in the category of one's own idea of, or not improving on what the Buddha says, but modifying it to suit one's own views in some way or other.
Coming back to
that will continue to happen, but it's just good to know, that that's what's happening.
Jan, coming back to your reference in passing about ahara pachya. So I also double checked in the text yesterday, and as I thought initially, just as every Passa is ahara pachya, as we've discussed in a lot of detail. And so every Chaitana is ahara pachya at every moment. Not only does it coordinate the citta and chaitasikas, but it's nutriment for the chittas and chaitasikas, and also for the rupas conditioned by the physical ahara. And when it comes to the citta, Vedana, every citta is ahara pachya at every moment. It also maintains and feeds the chaitasikas arising with it, and also supports and maintains the rupas conditioned by citta, like we were talking about the breath yesterday. So the rupas conditioned by citta are also conditioned by ahara pachya with regard to the citta. But in the context where we were discussing in Vietnam, or which you were referring to, as you said, in the context of paticca samuppada, only the chaitanas which are kusala or akusala karma, the sankhara in paticca samuppada that can bring results, are referred to in the texts as mano sanchaitana ahara. And you, as you mentioned, implied are also the kusala and akusala that leads to that karma. But in the text, they refer to the kusala and akusala, the sankhara and paticca samuppada. And the vijnana ahara in this context of paticca samuppada, not the general context, just refers to the patisandhi citta and or subsequent vipaka cittas only. So we have to know whether we are talking generally about ahara pachya as we study from the patana in the detailed nature about conditions, and in this sense, like at the viti patipadika manisikara, at the moment of panchatwara vajana citta, passa ahara is there contacting the object. Chaitana ahara is there at that moment, supporting and maintaining the citta and chaitasikas. And vijnana ahara is there because it's citta. So in that general context, all there, but in the context of paticca samuppada, passa, yes, but not the panchatwara vajana, because it's not vipaka, and not the chaitana, because no kusala akusala karma. So when we read in the Abhidhamma, it's usually the general meaning, but in the suttas, often it's just in the context of paticca samuppada. So I think it's been helpful to consider more. Help to
How to consider careful.
and letting go gradually the idea of self, which is so very deep. To understand from the very beginning, Dhammas, whatever is real is Dhamma. All Dhammas are anatta, and all Sankhara Dhamma must be anicca, dukkha, but it has to be anatta, because all Dhammas are anatta. To let go gradually the idea of self right now. So without intellectual understanding, no support, no moment of understanding directly what is there right now as it is. And at moment of understanding the nature of Sankhara Dhamma, arising and falling away, never to arise again, or anatta, but never return, never to arise again, is sunyata. And there can be different moments, different moment of experiencing Nibbana by way of anatta or by way of sunyata and so on, so much in Tipitaka. But the truth is the truth, never change at all. So whatever arises and falls away, never to arise again, is sunyata. So can wrong view be sunyata? Or it's anicca, dukkha, and anatta and sunyata all the time,
Yes.
depending on the stages of understanding. At moment of experiences nibbana, at moment when it experiences reality right now, from hearing, considering, and firm confidence of, it has to be moment of experiencing just one object in order to understand the truth of that object. It's easy to say this, but what condition the moment to experience just one object?
Yoniso
We
manasikara.
cannot think by oneself at all. Just learn about the truth, little by little, about what are there. No understanding at all. Just try so hard to experience it. It's not that way at all. It's wrong. That's why just learn to understand one word of truth gradually until it's firm confidence of the truth of that object. Like citta and cittasika and ignorance and attachment and aversion and right understanding. So now, what level of understanding of Dhamma?
Because yesterday I listened again to the discussion in Vietnam, and one of the nuns mentioned about when she was doing her meditation practice, then she experienced the body just, or the breath just like particles moving, and then thinking about many meditators taking that to be the knowledge of arising and falling away. And
Yes, when I made the comment about the vipassana jnanas, and usually when people have come from a meditation background, I'm not saying with regard to Vincent, but like in this case that you're mentioning, people have read and heard a lot about vipassana jnanas, and they may think they've had various kinds of experience. They think that they directly understand the arising and falling away of realities, and yes, like the particles moving, but the kalapas, that's right, the khandhas, and the khandhas in the past and the future. There's so many of these ideas which are deeply entrenched from all their years of meditation and hearing the wrong Dhamma. So this is why Ajahn said, what level of understanding is it now? Because there has to be the appreciation that this is just the beginning of understanding. If there's no understanding of Dhamma now, what is Dhamma? How can there be the understanding of the arising and falling away of Dhamma? How can there be the understanding of why anatta, sunyata means never to appear ever again, and why it's so significant? So the teachings are true. The truth is the truth, as the Buddha taught, no matter whether there's understanding or not. What he taught about the different kinds of ahara is the truth, even if it's hard for us to appreciate the details. But we have to be honest to understand what can be known now. Otherwise, one just reads all the details, trying to incorporate it into one's own idea. And there are just more and more tangles, like in the case you mentioned.
Actually, what Tom and you just said is something that is giving me some encouragement, because formerly I would think that people who are caught up in this and who've been meditating for many years, they are completely lost, and it's hard to convince them to it'll be hard to talk Dhamma to them. But just now, when Ajahn said that it's all about the understanding of Dhamma, and so while these people, they are talking about concepts, what they've read about, and talk about rising and falling away and thinking it's Vipassana Jnana, all they need to understand in the moment is the difference between Dhamma and concepts. So there is still hope.
For us, because it comes back to one's own citta. So at the moment when hearing about, for example, the nun's account about the particles, what is the citta now? Is there kindness? Is there understanding of the reality now? Or is there aversion or clinging or what? So it comes back to the citta at this very moment, because only when there's understanding of Dhamma now, what appears now, can there be the helping of others and considering what is the most appropriate way to help. If one just says to this person who is talking about their experiences that it's all nonsense, it's all wrong, it's not helpful at all. So one has to begin to let them consider what is Dhamma now, so that they can begin to appreciate for themselves whether Dhamma is understood at this moment, and deeper.
And in Vietnam, or other times also, Ajahn mentioned many times about seeing the Dhamma, it's seeing the Buddha. And you also mentioned the term Dhammakaya. So is that the only meaning of Dhammakaya? That the teaching of the Buddha, the Dhammakaya is the teachings of the Buddha. So when there's understanding of Dhamma, is the Buddha, is that the only meaning?
So what Buddha taught about? In order to
Dhamma?
understand the reality, it's not just tell them instantly, but let them hear about it and consider about it. And that is the answer.
Buddha taught about Dhamma,
What Dhamma?
seeing now,
Is it known now?
theoretical level,
And what is the meaning of Kaya? We have talked about it.
collection,
Kaya.
Group of, or
Groups of,
collection,
yeah,
so
collections.
Dhammakaya, group of Dhammas, collection of Dhammas.
Group of Dhamma. Where is it? And what is it? Not just take the word and think that there is the understanding of just what it said about, but what is it right now? Dhammakaya. When there's the understanding of Dhammakaya, no doubt, whether it's talk about what, this way or that way, this aspect or the other aspect.
And I think, as Ajahn often stresses, it's only by understanding Dhammas that there can be the understanding of who the Buddha was and what the Buddha's knowledge was and what his enlightenment meant. So that is what is meant by Dhammakaya, is understanding of the Buddha.
Not just want to understand the meaning of Dhammakaya, or what is Dhammakaya, without any understanding of Dhamma at all.
Actually, I am asking because in Vietnam, there's this Mahayana background, so they explain about the meaning of Dhammakaya in a totally different way. So I just wonder where that explanation comes from, because in the way you explain it's totally something different. Yeah.
It's Mahayana. Again, the word, the name, or what?
What is their idea about Dhammakaya? How do they explain?
I am not even sure, but something totally different, like something still existing from the Buddha, like something
So
like that.
whatever one reads to, there's a clinging to something lasting, something appearing again, something permanent. So that's why the idea of atta is so deeply rooted. The lurking ideas of something there.
So when it's wrong, no matter it's Mahayana or Vajrayana or whatever, so many sects. But the truth is that, is it the teaching of the Buddha or just one's own idea?
It's a wrong idea, but very well spread.
Mai, do you have anything else you would like to bring up today? Or last chance here?
Ajahn, I remember in the previous session you asked Hun Pt, I don't remember the name, but you asked, does the chitta appear now, or just a thinking of it? So I would like to understand more about, in case when you ask, does chitta appear now? And we think about the characteristic of chitta. So can it be called appear? Like, yes, we consider about the chitta, which experience something now, maybe the visible object, maybe the sound, but just thinking about it. So it can think that it appear or not.
Really thinking about the word citta experiences, so now it appears. That's not true.
Yeah.
There has to be more considering about the truth. Even we have heard a lot, uncountable moments in a day or in months or years. What is citta? See, is it clear understanding, experiencing it, or just begin to attend to a reality which is there from birth, never absent at all, always there, but always unattended? Right? See, beginning to consider, we heard a lot about citta. It seems like no doubt about citta, so we are interested in other things, think that we know citta already, but not at all, not enough careful considering. What appears now?
Seeing.
Is it citta?
Yeah, just think about that.
That's
Right.
why never get closer and closer to citta, to be known, or to be object of understanding at all, because it is satipatthana, not just ignorance patthana, but it's sati patthana. So what is sati and what is patthana, and why is cittanupassana satipatthana, not other satipatthana? In truth, everything which is real can be object of sati. Not just this is this satipatthana, that is satipatthana, so I can select to concentrate or to have sati on such and such patthana, but understand what is patthana and what is sati and what is citta. As soon as we heard about cittanupassana satipatthana, right understanding can be there. It's not yet known at all.
So appears in this case means appears to understanding, right?
Even not that. Is it now appearing?
Reality, is the reality appearing or just the idea about it now.
But so it means when we use appear, it means something like you have direct experience about that, or you can wise consideration, or
Not you beginning to understand from the very beginning, anatta, a reality. So what is now appearing? Appear to what?
Yeah, of course, appear to chitta, to
See,
yeah,
so citta does not appear.
yeah.
It's just the idea about citta. At moment of seeing, it's not I, it's citta. But what about it? If no attention to the characteristic of citta at all, is there now time to think about citta? Even it's there, but the object appears, not the citta which experiences it appear.
Even though citta does not appear clearly to understanding now, it may still be the case that it's less unclear than it was before, because one has been hearing and considering the Dhamma. So there's no doubt been some level or moments of understanding in amongst the moments without understanding. And so there can be the beginning of the understanding of the reality, even though it's not appearing clearly, because there's a better understanding of what is meant when we hear these terms. So that's I think, the way to consider it, because otherwise, as one saying that no understanding at all has been developed all these years that we've been listening to Dhamma and considering it. And I think that there is a different appreciation of how things are, even if we can't put our finger on individual Dhammas and say this one appears more clearly or that one appears more clearly, but still our understanding, our intuitive understanding of how things are has changed in that respect.
When there's thinking about citta, thinking about seeing, thinking about hearing, is there any understanding at that time of the reality of thinking?
There could be.
If there is understanding of the reality of thinking, it appears. But if it's just thinking about the nature of citta, thinking about seeing, thinking about hearing, then the reality at that moment, the thinking doesn't appear. So it has to be when the reality itself, the citta itself, the seeing, the hearing, the thinking appears at that moment. Otherwise, it's just an idea, it's just thinking about the details or the story about citta.
But I would say, I agree with everything Sarah says, and I would add that it may not be possible and certainly not necessary to pinpoint the moments that are the moments of understanding as opposed to the ordinary thinking moments, because the awareness and understanding may not be sufficiently developed for that to be the case.
The point is, it's not enough just to consider again and again citta as the chief in experiencing the object. The characteristic of citta, of seeing or hearing or thinking, has to be understood when it appears.
But in reality, it's still thinking, right? Even it's wise consideration,
So
but
when it's
in
still,
reality, it's just
when
a
it's
moment
still,
of thinking.
so the thinking is real at that moment. If the thinking, the reality of thinking, if its characteristic appears, then it appears. If it's just thinking, but the characteristic doesn't appear, then it's just thinking about it.
Yeah. So just the main point here is with wise consideration or with understand or not, right? But in
Point i-
reality,
the
it's still the
point-
thinking.
The point is that the wise consideration is essential, but not enough to directly understand
Yes, sure.
the reality
Sure.
when it appears.
Yeah, sure.
And I think people get confused because we use the word appear differently in different contexts. So like when we say that phassa doesn't appear while visible object appears. So in that case, it just says that one is known and the other is not. It's
Can
not
be
commonly,
considered, right?
yeah.
It's saying that the reality of phassa doesn't appear, cannot be the object of understanding, direct understanding. But the Buddha talked a lot about visible object, and it's a common object because it's seen now. Its characteristic can be known, can appear now. So more than just considering about it. So what appears now?
Confusing. Confusing. Appear.
It now appears, and the question is about what appears now.
Thinking.
Really?
Yeah. I'm thinking about the thinking.
Does it appear, or the concept now is known or experienced by thinking?
Yeah, for sure that concept of thinking.
Confusion. Yes, it's a reality. It can be understanding then and there. Doubt now, confusion.
Yeah.
It can be understood.
But
That
if
is
Ajahn,
different from just thinking about the story of it.
but if Ajahn, even confusion, if Ajahn asks whether it is characteristic of confusion or concept, so I may be still in the concept.
Thinking about the story of it rather than just understanding the reality right now.
When it's being asked, Achan asked, really? For sure, it's gonna be confusion.
Doubt will arise. Doubt arises because it's not firm
So maybe-
understanding with confidence.
Ajahn can change the question for Panya to arise.
Be truthful to the truth has to be confirmed or very confident about the truth. Without satya, parami, truthful to the truth, it's impossible to understand. Even just Dhamma, see, we think that we understand it, but what about its characteristic, each one? That's why we consider again and again, begin again and again, because lots of ignorance, attachment, and clinging is there. When we don't talk about anything at all, how can there be the understanding of what is there? Because it's gone. That's why when one is asked, what is there now? It's gone. Right? No matter what, it's gone. So we can talk about just one, for example, seeing right now, not yet the understanding of seeing as it is, just idea about it. It's a reality because there is seeing right now, and seeing is not the object which is seen. We talk about this on and on many times, as much to condition moment of not forgetting that there is a reality which is the chief of experiencing. Just to remind that there is also other reality which arises together and experience the same object, but it's not seeing. That's why attachment is not seeing. Wrong understanding is not seeing. Is the now beginning to attend to seeing as just a moment of experiencing an object. It takes quite a long time. Naturally,
The
who
point,
knows?
the point is the considering
Yeah.
is the right way, but not enough. So getting
Yeah.
closer and closer to the reality
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Do nothing. Cannot.
No one to understand, no one to do anything at all.
Yeah.
Vincent, anything else you would like to bring up today as its last chance?
Mana. When we talk about mana, is actually torturing and make the mind hardened, rigid. But at the moment of mana with pleasant feeling, does that occur or is actually reflected afterward? I would think it's reflected or noticed. It's rigid and getting hardened. But at the moment when it's there, it's the heart, it's the mind getting hardened.
As usual. What is mana?
That's an akusala cetasika that's compare.
Is it I?
It's
No
not
one.
I.
I, mana,
Oh.
or no one? Or the others?
Importance of I, right?
That's it.
Right. And at that moment, it can come up with pleasant feeling together. But it's actually torturing the mind.
Mana is so very subtle. Even there's no wrong view anymore.
Right.
Absolutely, ultimately eradicated. There can be mana. I with mana, not I with wrong understanding.
Right. Yes.
So when it's there appearing, there can be the understanding of that characteristic with our word. But it's the characteristic of mana appearing.
Right. And that characteristic, say, for example, it can make the heart or the mind rigid, right? And does that characteristic appear or is actually reflecting on afterward?
Is there any moment of inferior?
In what?
In thinking less than the others, for example.
Oh, yes. Or mana.
A kind of mana.
Right. It's called
One say that in a way, whenever there's any kind of clinging, no matter it's with wrong view or without wrong view, with mana or without mana, it's like a kind of torture, clinging with pleasant feeling to that which is gone instantly, leading to
Right.
more and more life in samsara. So at the moment of the mana, finding oneself self-important, it can be with pleasant feeling, but the dosa, feeling uncomfortable, feeling embarrassed, unhappy, follows instantly. So one doesn't realize that actually even the mana is part of the torture because it's clinging there, clinging to one's importance, conditioning dosa.
Right. All the
Instantly.
akusala in a sense is torturing the
Torturing,
mind.
yes,
But for
yes.
mana particular, it make the heart rigid and the mind rigid. But you were asking about the question, right. That because there's a pair of the beautiful Sopana Cetasika that's actually lessen this rigidity caused by mana.
And we say that mana is the opposite of metta, like when when there's comparing and finding oneself important, no metta, no kindness, no consideration. So the heart is rigid, whereas at the moments of kindness, friendliness, thinking of the other's welfare, the heart is gentle, pliant, light, all those qualities.
But to me, like dosa, it does not make the mind rigid. It attack the aramana. It attack the object of experiencing. But it does not make the mind rigid. It torture the mind, but a different way as mana. anyway, the point I want to discuss is rigidity anyway. So it doesn't, it's more for talking about mana, the harm.
You mean to discuss the characteristic of the rigidity, or
The effect of mana, even though it's pleasant.
but are we talking about something that is apparent or can be known, or just what's
It can be noticed.
can be noticed?
Right.
How is it noticed?
When the self-importance is there, even though you can be hard to the people dear to you, just because the self-importance.
Stuck, it's like stuck in the mud, stuck in the clinging to oneself. Like if one says something and it's questioned and one thinks, oh, what about me? At that moment, one's not, there's no letting go, there's no dispassion, there's no consideration. It's like stuck or rigid when it's mana.
Right. Right. And so people, no, I'm just talking about the rigidity. I find it helpful too, because it's really harmful and people don't really stuck in there. Right?
I think with conceit can condition a certain sort of persistence or obstinance or determination to go to keep doing whatever it is regardless.
Regardless of
whether it's appropriate or not.
not appropriate usually.
Some people just would like to have right answer, but not understanding. Only just want to have right answer to the question. What for? Just want.
Just to collect the details so that it can be told to others, just to have the knowledge. Mana. Yeah.
Well, I'm not really looking for an answer. I'm really raising for the purpose of discussion of
Yes,
rigidity
but
and
just
harmfulness. Right?
Jan's just giving example of mana. Yeah, common mana. Yeah.
I'm just not sure that what the texts refer to as the rigidity can be recognized or noticed. But so I don't know to what extent this will be apparent, but it's certainly not itself the characteristic of mana.
Right, that's the initial question, right? Because it has the effect of rigidity, but it's not actually part of the characteristic, right?
Correct.
Right, that's actually my initial question.
But when it's there, it's known, but as I.
Just as when there's kusala, there's the calmness. But if there's metta, the calmness is not necessarily known. The characteristic of metta appears. So there are all these pairs of mental factors that appear with kusala citta and the other ones you've mentioned with akusala, the restlessness with any akusala, for example. But these are different. These have their particular characteristic, which is different from the characteristic of the metta or the karuna or whatever the kusala moment might be.
Right.
Here's something one doesn't like, and me, why is it said something like that at those moments? Mana is there, none of those lahuta mudita, those factors that arise of kusala chittas. So it's stuck, it's rigid. Yeah. The opposite.
So
of
it's
kusala.
reflected actually. It's not really at the moment when it's appeared to Panya, because that's what
I think,
John
as Ajahn said, when the characteristic, when the mana appears, then it's understood just as it is at that moment, no matter what the words or terms used are. Its nature is there. It's rigid. It's nothing light about it. No kindness. It's just like stuck. Me, my importance.
Who doesn't have mana?
Only Arahant. Yeah, the first to be entangled is the wrong view, yes.
Better to know. That's all. Little by little.
Because mana concern.
No, not necessary, because could be meta concerned about, because mana can hurt people around you. Right, cannot do anything, but still do your best, right? No one can do anything, but still do your best.
Well, all akusala, I suppose.
Until mana appear.
All akusala can hurt those around us, but I agree that mana also makes us act in ways like giving a quick answer, a sarcastic answer because someone has said something to us or anything like that. Yeah.
Itself doesn't really hurt, but it conditions actions that hurt, right? Because the moments of mana, sometimes we just don't act out, so it doesn't really hurt. But when it conditions the actions, it can hurt.
We only have a little bit of time left. Does anyone at home have any question that they would like to ask before we finish? Leanne or Drake or Zhao or Alberto or Anne, anything you would like to ask? Go ahead, Drake.
As far as what is Dhamma, it's that which is experienced. Is that a non-conceptual, just direct experience of what is, like the felt sense of being?
It's not enough to say that Dhamma is that which is experienced, because there are two kinds of Dhammas. There are those Dhammas that experience an object. For example, seeing now, it isn't experienced, it experiences. Hearing now, it isn't experienced, it experiences. So the namas are those dhammas that experience an object, and the rupas are those dhammas that can only be experienced. Visible object can never experience, sound can never experience. So those dhammas that can experience an object and those dhammas that cannot experience an object. Now we talk about what different dhammas are, such as seeing now and what is seen now, to understand the distinction between those that experience and those that are experienced, and to appreciate no utter to be found. But these are not just concepts or ideas, they are the actual realities at this very moment that can be known a little more, firstly by considering them wisely, and then gradually the understanding can develop to directly understand their characteristics when they appear now.
And yesterday we were saying that Dhamma is what is present now and can be directly known. So that includes, when we say that, we include both the Dhammas that can experience something or are experiencing something, and the Dhammas that are experienced but themselves cannot experience anything.
Just at the end of the discussion yesterday, Ajahn was just beginning to ask you some questions, but it wasn't completed. I don't know if you would like to ask him anything, Ajahn.
No matter any time, what we are talking about is to understand what is there now or any moment in life, because life exists only just one moment at a time, unknown. That is life. That's why we learn to understand the ultimate truth of the reality, because it's real. We learn to understand the truth of what is real, no matter here or now or then or where. So now, begin to understand the truth of that which is now appearing. Otherwise, there cannot be the understanding of what is there in life at all, from moment to moment. So this moment is so true, so real. Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Is there any understanding of any moment now? Or is there gone? Because seeing is just a moment, it's not hearing. Begin to understand the truth of what is there, little by little, about the subtle truth of what now arises by conditions and then falls away instantly. And begin to understand what is there. No one can make it arise at all without its proper condition, which just a moment, a reality. There are not just one condition for its arising at all. If we learn a little more to understand that it's just a reality arisen by conditions, just in a moment, performing its function and then gone, never to return. We don't have to go too far, but just right now, understanding the truth that there is seeing right now, hearing, thinking in a day. Is there any understanding of the truth that is not there anymore? Who knows? Because moment of seeing is not moment of hearing. And what is seeing and what is hearing begin to be truthful to the truth, to understand what is meant by Dhamma, because what is real, nobody can change it to be unreal, because it's real right now at moment of seeing. Seeing is real, and that which is seen is real. Is that true? Learn to understand that even seeing right now, no one can make it arise at all, but it's there. Before there is seeing, there's no seeing. And when there's seeing, it's gone instantly, unknowingly, no matter what. Even hardness at moment of touching, it seems like it's there. But the truth is that as soon as it is experienced, it's gone. Even it's touched for a long time, each touching, each split seconds of touching, gone. See, unknown. That's why we learn to understand why even touching right now, just in a moment and then gone, because there is seeing, which is not touching. The hardness is there at moment of touching, and whisper is there at moment of seeing right now. Is that true? They are different moments. Learn to understand life that is so very rapidly conditioned just to arise and then falls away from birth moment on and on and on to death moment. And what is there in life is so different. Happenings, never the same at all by conditions. Nobody like to have unpleasant feeling, but it's there by conditions and it's gone. No one at all. But without understanding, what appears is taken for something by the nimitta, the sign or the mark of that which appears as something. But in truth, in a split second moment is so very short. And what appears in a day, no matter what, can appear just by way of nimitta, the sign of that which is there, arising and falling away. Is that right? So can seeing belong to anyone? Or I see? Because before seeing, there's no seeing. Where's the eye? and seeing gone, never to arise again. Where's the I who see? No one at all. Learn to let go ignorance and attachment to what is there as something. In truth, it's just different dhammas. But what is there is Dhamma. So what is there in life? All are Dhammas, unknown that it's just Dhamma. Because it is taken for something and someone or I. Because the rapidity of the succession of seeing, even there are different procession in between, it's not known. For example, right now, is there only seeing? The next process.
There's hearing it.
Yeah, that's why learn to understand what is real is Dhamma. Why is Dhamma? No one there at all. And Dhamma, which is there appearing, is conditioned to arise. And that which experience is just a reality. See, nobody can change it, which arises to be the chief of experiencing the object. What does it mean? The chief. It means that there are other realities which also there experience the object, same moment, same object, but not the seeing which is the chief. That's why we like something seen, but like is attachment, not the seeing. So the chief of experiencing the object is there. It doesn't like, it doesn't hate, but it just arises to see clearly and then go on with the other reality which is attached to the object. So that's why the Buddha realized the truth of what is there, what function, what characteristic. Hatred is not attachment, different characteristic. What condition it to arise? And the condition is not just one, so many conditions for just what is there to arise. For example, seeing, not just the eye base or the eye sense, because it's there, conditioned by karma all the time, but without that, would impinge on it. They can never be seeing. That's why even that is conditioned. So very quickly, until it's not known, because of the rapidity of the arising and falling away, gone, never arise again. It's taken for something by that which succeeds instantly, from moment to moment, to appear as someone and something. And thinking is not seeing, but that which marks and remembers the characteristic which is seen, conditioned thinking about something or someone or I all the time. That's why Dhamma is so very subtle. It needs careful considering to have confidence of the truth. As soon as it's there, it's gone. From nothing, there's something, and then nothing again. Is that true? It's right. Is it right or wrong? The understanding that nothing which arises can
Well, isn't it
last.
from conditions? From conditions, there's
Okay.
something, and then the
Okay.
conditions change, and then it is more conditions.
What is condition?
That which makes something appear and disappear, I guess. I mean, it's like, isn't it just an unknowable, continuous, interdependently co-arising? It's like they don't have a separate reality.
Is condition real? It's not just the idea or the words, but each word should be carefully considered to understand
But
it.
yeah, but isn't the fact that there's a process that everything is changing all the time, that every part of the process that creates what appears is in change. And it was created by something before it that was in change. So it's like
Yes, can I just
that reality of process.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that doesn't affect the case that the jitta that arises now, for example, before it arose, it wasn't there. So that's what is meant by from nothing comes something. It is all by conditions, but each Dhamma that arises comes out of nowhere in the sense of its arising and falling away. So it's only there for that briefest of moments, and then the next one arises by conditions. So to say that nothing then something then nothing is not denying conditions, because conditions are playing their part all the time.
And the conditions now are the dhammas now. For this moment of seeing, the visible object is a condition. The eye sense is a condition. These are dhammas that were also conditioned and arise and fall away. So whatever we're talking about, we're actually talking about dhammas.
And the conditions themselves do not necessarily appear to be understood. They may appear to more highly developed understanding, but for present purposes, what can appear to be and be known, better known, are the seeing and the visible object, and the sense door experiences and their objects, and the thinking about those things.
We're going to have to stop now because some people have a flight to catch after lunch. So thank you everyone who's joined us at home. So this is the last of the live Zooms, and from Saturday we continue the regular schedule. Yes, not this Saturday, from